friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am on the way to a beautiful greenhouse nursery, and I thought I would take you along today. I'm working on getting some additional flowers for my Mary garden, and I had thought about this in the month of May, but I live in the Midwest and the weather here is so changeable. As a matter of fact, I looked at the extended forecast for this week, and there's a night that's going to be about 48 degrees. So it can get cool, but we're in the month of June now. So I think it's safe if I'm going to be adding some annuals to my garden, I'm going to want to do it now. So I thought it would be fun to kind of explain the flowers that are symbolic of our Blessed Mother. So first, I'm on my way to the greenhouse. So when I get there, I'm going to be showing you the flowers that I am going to be picking out. And then I'm going to explain each flower, and maybe there are some additional flowers that you want to add to your garden in honor of our Blessed Mother. So come along with me. So my friends, this is what I got for my Mary garden in addition to what I have already. So we actually have 3 perennials. So we have this beautiful rose. Of course, we wouldn't leave out a rose plant, and I just love, look at the color. It's a peachy color, and I just love that. And here's the variety that it is. It's a miniature rose plant. And then I got this daisy plant. It's actually white petals with the yellow center. And this is a bee and butterfly attractor. So that'll be a nice addition to my Mary garden. And then this is a flower that I've never had before. It was actually in the fall section. I had to walk along the back of the nursery to get it. This is aster. And this will be a bright pink blossoming plant. And I couldn't resist this here. It was just, I have a lot of purples, as you'll see in my garden, and this just looks so pretty to me. Here are my marigold plants, and that will be a nice bright pop of yellow. So let's go back to my garden now and let me show you the existing space. Okay, my friends, this is my existing garden. And if you're a long-time follower of my channel, I had done several videos when I just started my channel about this statue. This actually was my grandmother's statue. And about maybe 10 years ago, my daughter and I did a facelift on the paint because it had worn away. So we put a fresh coat of paint, and I just didn't want to put it outside, so I had it inside my house. And then I had another Mary statue, so I had this up in the attic. And I was looking for something, and I thought, I don't want to keep her in the attic. I want to bring her back outside, and if she needs to be repainted, she'll be repainted. So she is front and center of my Mary garden. But as you can see, I have a lot of work to do. I have existing plants here, which are perennials. And I have the purple theme, like I was saying. I just got these beautiful, colorful solar stakes. And I have the colorful one on this side, and then I have go to this side of the garden. I have the white ones on this side, along with my lambs there. So that's the space I'm working with. So as you can see, I need to get it cleaned up and weed before I go ahead and put the new plants in. But you'll be part of that process. One thing I wanted to show you is, look at all the blossoms on my clematis plant. And this is a perennial. I can't wait till it blooms. I have it right by my window, and it's just loaded. And of course, it is just across from the Mary garden. So I just love this plant. Do you have a clematis in your yard? And I will be showing you this when it blooms. It's just going to be glorious. So I love the thought of our Blessed Mother being able to be surrounded in flowers like this. I wanted to show you too, here is the memorial for one of my doves. I had 2 ringneck doves, and my pure white dove passed away on Friday. And we had a little burial and memorial service, and we laid some peonies that I had in my garden. And I have this rock that has a butterfly on it, but I want to get maybe a little bird that has wings that flap. Have you seen something like that? Either it's a stake you can put into the ground. I thought that would be really fitting. We said a special prayer. This beautiful white dove, of course, it's the symbol of peace since '09, and it was already 2 or 3 years old at that time. So I placed her here in between my daylilies, and I have beautiful hospices that line the side of my house, so we can stop by anytime. And we have that beautiful bird. It was very fitting because the morning after I had buried her here, there was a mourning dove that was cooing on the top of the house, on the rooftop. And every time I look in the blue sky, I just think about our beautiful dove flying free. So now, my friends, it's time to get busy and start getting the weeds out of my garden. Do you enjoy gardening just like I do? There is something very therapeutic to just getting in the dirt and trying to clean up your yard. And then, of course, this is in honor of Mary, so it's a special, special time to do that and pray as I go. As I was working in my garden, I heard the buzzing of a lot of bees. I'm not allergic to bees, and I'm not frightened by bees, so I enjoy being in my garden and just hearing them buzzing. I was trying to capture the bees that were feasting on this beautiful purple plant. They were just zeroing in, and I was trying to see whether I could catch up. There's one right there. they would make a quick getaway through the gate. So a friend of mine gave me some dahlia bulbs. It's a plant that I've never planted. And so she was so organized and had them bagged by each individual variety. So I'm going to plant those around my statue of Blessed Mary. So I want her to be surrounded by flowers. So we're going to have a lot of fun planting this and seeing the results. Okay, after a couple hours of working in the garden, I'll show you what I've done. I will be adding at least a plant or two to the shady section of the garden, but here's our Blessed Mother and that beautiful rose that's right in front of her. And around her, I planted the dahlia bulbs. So as they come up, I will be coming back and sharing that with you. So I wanted to have flowers all around her, and I can't wait to see their mixed colors and mixed varieties. So I will film that when they're coming up and blooming. This is the sunny side of my garden. So I have the marigold there, I have the daisies there, I put the aster there, and I put the purple rubina there, and of course I have my stakes. When I show you the dahlias blooming, I will also include a little snippet of how beautiful the solar stakes look at night. So I trimmed down a lot of my perennials. I added some hostas in the shady side of the garden, which is this side. I have my lambs there, and I think where that pinwheel is, I staked that out. I'd like to check out the lady's mantle and see if that is a shade plant, because that was a green plant. They also had bleeding hearts, so I thought of the sorrowful mysteries. Have you planted either one of those or any of the plants that I have in my garden? I'd love to know what plants you have in your garden, and if you have a Mary's garden. I wanted to also point out, because I planted this garden when I moved into my house, and it's been, what, 18 years now? So it's an established garden. But I love these wood ties. And so I just doubled and tripled them up to do this sort of garden. It's really nice. I've seen some Mary's gardens where they actually have stones forming a rosary, and that's beautiful too. I just don't have the space to do that here. So I will be adding and sharing it with you. Now I'm going to explain the meanings of a lot of the flowers that I've planted and some additional ones you might want to add to your garden, and how they symbolize Mary. So I'm back to tell you a little bit about the symbolic meanings of the flowers, some of them that I bought for my garden and some of them that I will add in the future. Some of them that you might have. So I think this is going to be fun. First, of course, we think of the rose when we think of our Blessed Mother. And rose, or Rosa mystica, the rose is sometimes used to represent heavenly joy when worn as a crown by saints, while its thorns often point to original sin. The Blessed Virgin Mary is called the Rose Without Thorns. Mary has also been given the title of Mystical Rose. The rosary is sometimes visually represented in art as a garland of roses given to Mary. Next is marigold, and that is a flower that I added to my garden. And it literally means Mary's gold or heaven. How about aster? Aster I added as well. It's Mary's birthday flower as it blooms in early September. So I love the fact that it represents Mary's birthday and that it will flower in September. I love to have flowers in spots of my garden. Sometimes I've got a showcase on the sunny side, and sometimes I've got a showcase on the shady side. So it's nice to have flowers that bloom and take turns blooming all throughout the summer months. I'm so excited that now I'm in zone 6. It was zone 5, but because of the warmer temperatures that we've had over the past couple years, they've actually changed the zone. Next is daisies, which I added, and that represents innocence, chastity, and humility. How about the lily? I have so many lilies. Now, in the garden that I showed you, I used to have Asiatic lilies. And I had those for probably about 3 years. And then it must have been a very harsh winter and extreme colds. And I didn't have that flower, that bulb coming back again. So that's one that I'd like to reincorporate into Mary's garden, because the lily symbolizes purity, innocence, and virginity. The angel Gabriel is often depicted in scenes of the Annunciation, giving Mary a lily. Additionally, there is a white daylily that only blooms around the time of the Assumption in mid-August and is known as Assumption lily, though it's actually a variation of a hosta. And I'll have to see if it's fitting that I can add it to my shady part of the garden, because I really need to build up that side. As you see, I had less flowers on that side. So I'd love to see, will this do well there? Another flower that I asked about at the nursery, but they did not have that, was periwinkle. Do you have periwinkle? It's also named the virgin flower, and its blue color connects it to Mary, who's usually depicted wearing blue. So as you know, as a gardener, there's very few flowers that are actually true blue. Maybe the forget-me-not, but not too many flowers are just naturally that blue color. So I'd love to check that out and see if I could find that. Another one is a bulb flower, and it's called Lady's Slipper. And originally referred to as Our Lady's Slipper, this flower has a popular legend that says they first sprang forth at the touch of Mary's foot. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I love this symbolic way to think about a sunflower and Our Lady, is that it's always turning toward the sun. If you just think of it plant-wise, S-U-N, it turns towards the sun. But we look at it as Mary turning to the S-O-N, Jesus Christ. So that's beautiful. How about a violet? A violet represents servitude and humility. And I'd like to check on the bleeding hearts that I showed you in the nursery. If there are any others that you are aware of that you've planted before, that you have in your garden, maybe you're a gardener out there too, let me know. Something that you've tried and it's thriving in your garden, and let me know, is it shade or is it a sun lover? So this has been really fun. I've enjoyed sharing my garden with you and just my love of flowers. And my front of my house is actually pretty much perennials. I don't do much of anything else. Maybe I just have like my one cedar pot that I have out there. And I usually just plant a tiny bit of impatiens. But other than that, I have lilies, lilies, lilies. And I have a lot of hostas that I love. And they're huge and they're flourishing. And so it was fun to get in the back of my garden. I do have a peony plant, and I'm going to be taking that up and finding a good spot for it, because I have it at the back of my house. I don't see it unless I go out there. So I'd like to plant that somewhere where I could look out the window and see the beautiful petals. And I just love that. I love to, after the ants have all gone off of them, I bring it in, and it just makes a beautiful bouquet. So I'd love it if you share with me your gardening tips and tricks. And like I said, I'll be back showing you my garden as I add more to it, and when those dahlias start popping out of the ground. And I'd love to see how they'll just surround Our Lady with the beautiful colors. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you're new, I'd love it if you subscribe. And until next time, shalom.